Alright, thank you for stopping by. This is JT Gator, and so today we're going to be pinning the DIY anchor pole. So if you want to stay tuned for that, keep watching. Alright, so today we are dressing the anchor pole, the DIY push-pull anchor pole, whichever you want to call it. So I had an issue where the anchor pole didn't want to bond to this, the JB Weld didn't want to bond to this handle, this right here. That's JB Weld all over here. It bonded very good to the pole, but it did not bond all too well to this handle. So what I'm going to try to do is I got to sand all this JB Weld off, and then once I get all this sanded off, I'm going to try sanding the inside of the handle here, sand that all out, and then I'm going to pin it. I originally wanted to do a bolt and nut, so you fasten it on there, tighten it, and there's no way it's coming undone. But I went ahead and got some pins, brass pins, and there's an assortment of sizes. You can get this on Amazon for 10 bucks, so that'll be down in the description if you want to. But I'm going to use those brass pins and use that to pin this. If I wanted to spend a little bit more money, I'd probably go with stainless steel bolt and washer nut, so that way it's tightened down and it's never going to leave. I've never pinned anything before, so we're going to give that a try today. So now we're going to sand this down, get all the old JB Weld off, sand the inside of this. Hopefully it'll help it attach quicker to this. Just have some old sandpaper here, says it's 60 grit. Probably have a face mask on for this too. Alright, so we got it sanded down. I'm just now wiping it off. I also made it shorter too, so it's a lot easier to handle. And I'm going to go ahead and pin the other rod. The handle hasn't come off of it, but I just want to make sure that it doesn't happen to this one, or like this one. So I got the majority of the JB Weld off. I didn't get all of it. I didn't want to sand down the fiberglass, and I'm not too picky about it. I still think no matter what, it's still going to stay on the fiberglass rod. I'm more worried about the grip staying to the grip. So I'm going to get some of that. I have some 180 grit here. I just so happen to have a 1/4 inch piece of pipe that they sent me to compare them with. So what I'm going to do is I just have sandpaper on this 1/4 inch one. I'm going to put it in the handle. You could probably do this with the 3/4 inch. I don't know if this is going to help at all, but we're going to try. It's definitely rough in there now, so hopefully that'll help. So just so I don't waste any JB Weld, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick out my drill bit, pick out the size pin that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to pre-drill everything, make sure everything fits, cut the pin to size, and then once I know everything is put together and it'll work, then I'll disassemble it, mix up my JB Weld, so I only got to mix it once, and then JB Weld the whole shaft, put on the handle, put some JB Weld inside the hole, and then put JB Weld on the pin, put the pin in, and then let everything set up and dry. Once everything's dry, then I can sand the pin down to the size I need to. So now I'm going to test fit this, drill it, size the pin, and go from there. Not the cleanest environment. That's this JB Weld napkin. We're going to try to cut the pins with that. If I can't cut the pins with that, then I'm going to need a plan 2 or plan B. Instructions, they teach you or show you how to pin it. They give you 2 options. One is pretty much put a screw in it without a nut and washer, or drill all the way through it and use a nut on the other end. I'm going to go ahead and get our drill bit. But first we need to figure out our pin size. So this is our 3/4 inch rod right here. So they have really big stuff and then they have really small, so we're gonna have to go somewhere in the middle. These are just a few of the sizes. There's literally, I think there's 9 different sizes. These are all different sizes. I think it goes from 2.5 to 6 millimeters. But as you can see, this is the 3/4 inch pipe. So you can tell that some of those are just way too big to use for this. I have no experience in this, so I'm just guesstimating. I'm gonna go with the smaller one. Does that look about right to you guys? Maybe. I don't know. That's what I'm going with. We're only going to go 3/4. May cut it at 1 inch for each one, so you have a little bit sticking out. But you do need the handle on there. So that's going to take up probably 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. So we'll see. So what I got to do is find a drill bit to fit this. I am using a 7/64, and I think I'm just going to drill it straight through with this. I'm going to drill the handle first just to get that first hole started, and then I'll drill into that. They give you a pilot hole or a indentation to drill there, so we're gonna use that. I'm gonna test it, my pin, a little bit of give there, but I think that'll actually be perfect because it still needed a little bit of room for the JB Weld. So I'm gonna leave just a little bit out on this side, and then I'm gonna try to cut this off pretty close too, just because I'm not a hate wasting stuff. Probably leave the same amount out on the other side. Oh, wow, actually cut pretty good. So that's how much is out on each side. So we only ended up using one piece to pin both of these. Again, if I were to do this joint again, if I had more money and I wanted to spend it, I would put a bolt through and put a nut on the other side, so that way it keeps it on here and there's no way of it failing. But for these joints where you don't really want a nut or a head sticking out, that's where this pinning method is really going to be beneficial. But I don't see anything failing here. If it fails, then I'm going to pin all of them, but for right now it hasn't failed yet. I've been using them regularly, so I'm just going to keep them as is and I'm not going to pin them yet. But for these handles, since that one failed, I'm going to pin both and do that. So now the pins are in, so we just got this one, I'm only going to JB Weld the pin and put it in. That's all I got to do because that's on there. And then this one is the one I sanded down, so I'm going to take it off, clean it up, JB Weld the whole thing, put it on, and then put the pin through and JB Weld that. Alright, for my normal JB Weld shenanigans, that's a 1-to-1 mix. I'm going to just put it down here in the center so you all can see it. Just got a shish kebab stick, going to mix it up, get it all nice and good. Have gloves on. Make sure your parts are nice and clean. I'm just going to wipe mine down. So mix, make it all good and happy. Put it in strips on here. Slide it on. Give it a twist once it's fully on. And then we got to find that hole really quick. Try to keep our hole in the general vicinity, and then get the pin in. No longer getting any black or gray streaks, so we know we're all mixed. You're going to want to put more at the end than you do at the tip, because it'll end up pushing it down anyways. Again, push straight on. I'm lining up my hole. Straight on. Twist. My hole is in the same spot. I'm going to use some of this. Pushed it through to the other side, get some JB Weld on it, push it back through. And now I gotta do this pin real quick before all this sets up. We got the pins in. I have them sitting sideways so that way they don't gravitate down to the bottom or fall out. Same with this one. You can see that pin's in, sitting sideways. So as we are waiting for these pins to dry up, right here looking all beautiful, there are a few affiliate links down in the description. Some of these brands that you see on the screen, they are affiliates, so if you click on any of the links down below before you do any of your shopping, it does help out JT Gator and you get a small kickback. So if you want to help support the channel without spending any extra money, that would be a good way of doing it. So if you end up doing that, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and we'll keep pumping out these videos. So let's get back to it. Alright, so it has been 24 hours, because that's what the cure time is on regular JB Weld, not the quick cure. So I'm going to use a Dremel, and I'm going to sand the pins down so that way they're flush with the push-pull, anchor pull, whichever you want to call it or use it for. Nice and smooth to me. Alright, so we went ahead, got them both pinned, sanded down, and we'll see how they hold up now. I believe this should work, and I'll go ahead and put the size pin up here, and that'll be the size that I used. I don't think it'll be a problem. It is a little skinnier than usual, but I think it'll serve its purpose. So we got new JB Weld on, put the pins in, put JB Weld on those pins, sand them flush, so now these handles are now pinned. I put this on here so that way when it sits on the John boat seat, it doesn't rattle and make a bunch of noise. It gives it sort of like a cushion to vibrate on. So that's why these yellow things are here, and I figured I would just slip them right over where the pins were, so that way even if they are sticking out a little bit, there's no chance of them rubbing on anything. So that's my fix for the DIY anchor pull and pinning on the handles. You can also pin these, but I haven't had one break yet, so I'm not going to go through the trouble of doing all of them. So if you want to, you could do the very tip of the pole. That may be beneficial, but as I said, those haven't popped off yet. I haven't had any issue with the JB Weld on that. I only had the issue with the JB Weld sticking to the handle. I went ahead and sanded this and re-JB Welded it, so I don't know if it was the handle issue or if it was a JB Weld issue, but should be fixed now. Shouldn't have any issues. Love these DIY anchor pulls. They work amazing for the John boat. If you're going to use it on a bass boat or something thicker, go with the 1 inch. But this 3/4 inch has been working great on the John boat. So hope you're enjoying the videos. I know I enjoy making them. We've got some big stuff coming up, so if you want to see that, subscribe to the channel, like the video, help support it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. This is JT Gatering.